Hi. Today I am thinking about Valentine's Day, like many of you are. One of the things that's interesting about Valentine's Day is how much ambivalence it evokes. People have all kinds of feelings about it, mixed feelings about it. Some couples, sometimes younger couples who are still really into the early romance, like to celebrate it in all the traditional ways. They like the rituals. Other couples, sometimes more established couples, who are more settled into kind of ordinary life, like to do it in non-traditional ways. And then, of course, there are the couples at all stages of their development who just are turned off by it. They're turned off by the commercialism, and they would rather duck the wave of red roses and chocolates and ignore the whole thing. But let's assume that in your couple, at least one of you wants to mark Valentine's Day in some way. Okay, here are my 5 tips for having a pleasurable Valentine's Day. Number 1, remember that Valentine's Day is only fun to the extent that you're both on the same page, that you're both into it. Valentine's Day is like gift giving on Christmas or big time gift giving on Christmas. It's like buying expensive diamond engagement rings. It's driven by the marketing department of retailers. And this can create a lot of pressure to conform. And that's okay if you're both into it. But if one of you is really drawn to it and one of you is more cynical, this can get thorny. This can create hurt feelings. Which brings me to tip number 2, stop banging your head against the wall. It's not working. Have you ever said to your partner, I want you to do it because you want to do it, not because I asked you to do it? It's such a frustrating conversation. It makes both of you feel lousy. So if you are saying to your partner for the umpteenth time that gifts are really, really important to you, but it's not important to them, you can't really change them. I mean, sure, couples make concessions for each other. Partnership is based on compromise to an extent, but your partner came to you cooked, basically cooked. You cannot change them fundamentally. So if you get your partner to agree to take you for the romantic dinner that you really want, no candlelight or amount of champagne is going to turn that into your magical evening. In the end, it's still the two of you at a table looking at each other, and that's the way it's going to be. Tip number 3, talk about things together in advance. The best way to stave off Valentine's Day conflict, well, conflict in general, is to have a conversation in which both of you encourage the other to talk about your preferences. Try to do this calmly, without judgment. Recognize that it is normal, actually it's a good thing, that you each have different perspectives on things. And try to remember that one isn't better or worse, they are just different. And having this conversation can help each of you to manage expectations, but it can also allow you time to try to find a middle ground, find ways of celebrating that work for both of you. Try to think outside the box. There are lots of ways to celebrate each other. And if one of you wants to do things the way the other does, even if it's not your bag, at least this year, to try it, and you can do it with a glad heart, that's pretty great, actually. Tip number 4, do some soul searching. Think about what you crave on Valentine's Day. If there's something that's really important to you that you find very hard to give up, even if your partner is really resistant, that feeling in you came from somewhere. That craving belongs to another time in your life. So, for example, I'm just making this up, but let's say you come from a really big family. You're one of 6 kids, and you had overwhelmed parents who really couldn't pay enough attention to you. Well, that's a feeling that you might carry into your relationship, that it's the idea of your partner paying attention to you in ways that you fantasized about when you were a kid is going to feel overwhelming to them. It's an outsized feeling. And if you can recognize that, like recognize the roots of these powerful needs that you're feeling in the present, then you might be able to recognize that your partner cannot fill that hole for you. And this can help you relax a bit. in terms of what you feel you need to get from them. And honestly, if you can do that, then they're likely to feel more relaxed and, in fact, less resistant and more desirous of giving you what it is that they can tell is important to you. And finally, tip number 5, practice gratitude. I know it's kind of cheesy. Practicing gratitude is a big phrase in the self-help world these days, but actually it's really important, especially if you're feeling a little irritated or disappointed with your partner right now. Think about the qualities that you really value in them. Stop to think about it, because you may not usually. Do they really treat the relationship like a partnership and do things that may just be part of the fabric of your life and seem kind of mundane that you don't really notice? But do they take on a fair share of the household chores? Do they do things in a way that they're not keeping score, that things are not tit for tat? That's really important. Tit for tat is a relationship killer. Do they cook you delicious meals? Are they a great parent to your kids if you have them? Are they amazing at giving a back rub? Are they a generous lover? Do you trust them? That's so important. Do you trust them to have your best interests in mind, not to read your diary, not to say bad things about you behind your back? All of that stuff is really important. And most of all, and this is the key, the most therapeutic thing that any human can experience is the feeling of being truly known and non-judgmentally accepted by someone. And when it's your partner, that's intimacy. So if you can answer yes to the question, do I feel deeply known and accepted? Every day is Valentine's Day for you.